Hi, Brian. Welcome.
Thank
To
you.
Vancouver.
You've got a nice set there, Ron.
Well, we're becoming a production staff, or company. Okay, we're live on YouTube now. So I'm not sure when we consider we have a quorum. So Philip? Who's Philip? We have, is that Philip Hassan or Philip Cooper? Okay, Sam, Rajan, Hassan.
Ron, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's Wylam.
Oh, Wylam. You need to, style up a bit. Your name says iPad.
Sorry.
I mean,
Hi guys.
Don't you have any children, Wylam, that can fix you up?
Yeah, none of them are here anymore. That's the problem.
Oh, you're on your own.
Yeah.
Hi Ron, Philip here.
Oh, Philip. There, where are you? I want to see your face. I haven't seen you for 100 years.
Hassan,
It's awfully dark here.
sunglasses on. Is it sunny in wherever you are? Is it sunny in Ottawa?
No, Hassan's always
Dark
cool.
in Ottawa.
It's just dark, is it? Okay.
Oh, there you are, Philip. You could turn the lights on. I mean,
Well, it's bedtime here, Ron.
bedtime. It's only 9:30. Are you getting old, Philip?
Yes, we're all getting old, Ron.
Oh, not me.
That's not true.
Okay, I see Jan's here.
There's Sam.
Okay. Oh, we've got Patrick from Uganda.
Yes, indeed.
Wow.
Catherine, I don't know you. Do I? You have to unmute yourself.
Hi, my name is Catherine. I'm from the University of Washington, and I perform student research in the Department of Surgery.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, we've got Sega from Ethiopia.
Hello.
Hi, welcome.
Hi, Doctor. Way to stay.
My friend Lori. Hi, Lori.
So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18. I don't know when we call it a quorum and we begin this meeting. Sam is usually the one that gets impatient with me delaying. So.
Meeting's called for 5:30. It should start at 5:30.
Okay, Sam.
That sounded like Sam.
Yeah, okay. Well then, live from Vancouver. It's the 25th anniversary, the Silver Jubilee of the Canadian Network for International Surgery. Who would ever have believed we made it this long? So I have a production staff with me here in the office. And so without further ado, we have an agenda. I think it was sent out. It should be on your chat screen. Is that where it is, Dolores? So on your chat screen is the agenda. We're starting out with a video that's a bit on the long side, but I would like you to be patient. It's representing 132 people that have made good contributions. We'll then have a chance to listen to your CNIS stories. We'll have some chatting and breakout sessions, and then we're going to break out the bubbly. So let's begin.
Hi, my name is Dr. Ronald Lett. I'm the founder of the Canadian Network for International Surgery. In 2020, CNIS will be celebrating its Silver Jubilee. For 25 years, we've been sharing skills and saving lives in Africa and the Caribbean. Within the context of existing training programs, up to 50,000 African health professionals have learned surgical and obstetrical skills. At least 20,000 children who live in insecure communities have learned nonviolent conflict resolution skills. Skills labs have been built and injury control institutions established. CNIS has made an important impact these 25 years. How was this accomplished? These results are due to the combined effort of many individuals, Canadians, Africans, and also people from the Caribbean and the USA. Our Silver Jubilee is the right time, a good time, to recognize all these contributions. An awards committee was established and set up and received 175 nominations. 175 people contributed so much to the CNIS that they were nominated to be recognized. The executive committee decided that 100 of these individuals should be recognized for their notable contributions. Criteria were established, and from this, 100 notables were included. These people had provided substantive or multiple contributions to the life of the CNIS. The 100 were recognized on the CNIS newsletter last month, but at this time we would like to review their names. They will all receive a certificate and a digital badge for their social media posts. Surgeons, obstetricians, midwives, anesthetists, accountants, information technology professionals all did their part. They deserve to be named, so please think about the days, weeks, and months that these people contributed as you listen to the diversity of their names. We are now going to announce the 100 notables for our 25th Jubilee. Dr. Gurmai Hagos, Dr. Massey Beveridge, Mrs. Susan Burak, Dr. Samson Isai, Dr. William Pollitt, Dr. Katie Rhodes, Dr. Suzanne Roberge, Mr. Jayash Asher, Ms. Kiddis Bartholomewis, Dr. Ababa Bekele, Dr. Deogratis Bitaro, Dr. Christine Block, Mr. Rajan Bola, Dr. Respicius Boniface, Mr. Lauren Braun, Dr. Sam Bugas, Dr. Brian Cameron, Dr. Jim Campbell, Dr. Janet Cassian, Dr. Alvance Chandika, Dr. Kondo Chilongo, Dr. Jan Christola, Dr. Philip Cooper, Dr. Francois Couturier, Dr. Deepak Delvadia, Dr. Nizum Diarra, Dr. Hassan Shinaza, Dr. Jessica D., Dr. Vincent Chavi, Dr. Hashem Fathi, Dr. Robin Fairfield Smith, Dr. Wylam Fott, Dr. Al Felix, Dr. Gladwell Katecha, Dr. Fikre Gurma, Dr. Abara Gomez, Dr. Mark Hardy, Mr. Philip Hassan, Ms. Audrey Hebert, Dr. Gwendolyn Holar, Dr. Andrew Howard, Dr. Robert Hutchinson, Dr. Guy Wang, Dr. Sam Kagwa, Professor Ignatius Kakandi, Dr. Olivia Chitutu, Dr. Olive Kopusinji, Dr. Berhanu Kutiso, Professor Patrick Kayameniwa, Dr. Jose Langa, Dr. Barb LeBlanc, Ms. Janelle Liso, Dr. Sarvesh Logsetti, Ms. Leah Makala, Mr. Rob Machon, Dr. Pierre Maurice, Professor Naboth Membati, Dr. Peter McLean, Professor Jonathan Meekins, Dr. Ivor Mendez, Dr. Katrina Mitchell, Dr. Paul Morose, Dr. Patrick Mugabe, Dr. Badria Mushi, Dr. Milton Muto, Dr. Annette Nakamuli, Dr. Joseph Ngonzi, Dr. Susan Obor, Dr. Gary O'Connor, Ms. Kathy O'Donoghue, Dr. Martin Ogwan, Dr. Tom O'Kella, Mr. Gennaro Ocott, Dr. Osman Othman, Dr. Norgrove Penny, Dr. Moody Qureshi, Dr. Madan Rambaran, Dr. Navin Rambaran, Dr. Tariq Razik, Dr. Gary Redikop, Dr. Martin Redike, Dr. Rebecca Rivera, Ms. Lorelei Robbins, Dr. Lorian Ranyuma, Dr. Abdullah Saleh, Ms. Elizabeth Schaefer, Professor Nelson Sewan Campbell, Dr. Michelle Suter, Dr. Genevieve Tam, Dr. Mulat Taye, Dr. Robert Taylor, Dr. Sega Teklemariam, Dr. Shannon O'War, Ms. Mabel Tamusanji, Dr. Fanon Ujo, Mrs. Joan Van Duzer, Mr. Doug Wallace, Dr. Michael Wansborough, Dr. Lorraine Wolford, Dr. Mensur Osman Yassin. Before we name the 25 for their exceptional contributions, let us remember 7 of our members who are no longer with us but made important contributions. Glenn Lett, my father, the first CNIS Volunteer of the Year. In addition to his own contributions to CNIS, he represents all the parents who encouraged the many health professionals as we studied so we could make humanitarian contributions. And those same family members who supported and worried about us as we took the CNIS mandate to the remote corners of Africa. In the early years of CNIS, Mrs. Joan Jameson was the first treasurer, a Volunteer of the Year, an honorary life member, and a member of the CNIS board. Professor Gangali Diallo was the ESS patron in Bamako, Mali. A military surgeon who rose to the rank of general, was the center of surgical education in Mali and was key to the CNIS programs in that West African country. Dr. William Obote was one of the developers of the Trauma Team Training Program, which was initiated in northern Uganda. He also was important in the teaching of ESS in Kampala and published evaluations of that work in the East and Central African Journal of Surgery. Mr. Stephen Okiria was the accountant at the Injury Control Center Uganda, which was established in Kampala with the support of CNIS. Ironically, Stephen, working to prevent injury in Uganda, died in an Al-Shabaab terrorist bombing while attending the video broadcast of the final World Cup football match. Dr. Swai, a general surgeon, was an excellent surgical educator and the director of the CNIS ESS program at Kilimanjaro Christian Medical Center. He died prematurely in a motor vehicle crash. Dr. Clark Jameson, a urologist, volunteered to teach essential surgical skills in Africa on several occasions, strengthened the urological dimensions of the course, and taught ESS to family practice residents in northern British Columbia, contributing the stipends of all those involved in teaching to the CNIS, which was a very helpful donation at the end of every fiscal year for a decade.
Jimmy James was a Scottish surgeon. Not a British surgeon, not an English surgeon. He made it clear he was Scottish. And he was practicing surgery in East Africa for most of his career. He was very important in the establishment of the College of Surgeons of East, Central, and Southern Africa. But for CNIS, he was the patron of essential surgical skills in Malawi. He also chaired the African Canadian Committee for Essential Surgical Skills. When he was chair, he conducted and led the COSEXA annual meeting on the shores of Lake Malawi. We had a beautiful venue, but Jimmy felt that he could save money by bringing cooks
to Lake Malawi rather than having the meeting catered. We certainly were under budget. We were a little bit short on food, but it was a memorable occasion, as was Mr. James.
And now, what you've all been waiting for, the 25 exceptionals. The awards committee had a great deal of difficulty in narrowing down the selection to 25 individuals. The CNIS wants this designation to be very meaningful. Every one of the 25 contributed in multiple ways to result in substantive improvement of the CNIS programming. They will all receive a second certificate and a digital badge recognizing their status as exceptional. In alphabetical order, Dr. Christine Block. She wrote significant portions of the Fundamental Intervention, Referral and Safe Transfer course for midwives. She taught both the SOGC Alarm course, the CNIS Structured Operative Obstetrics course, and the CNIS First courses on numerous times in Tanga, Tanzania. Dr. Respicius Boniface, an anesthesiologist and injury control epidemiologist. Dr. Boniface established and directed the Injury Control Center Tanzania, an NGO established with CNIS support. He has been Secretary General of the Injury Prevention Initiative for Africa, another NGO established with CNIS support. And throughout, he has taught trauma team training throughout Tanzania and introduced trauma team training to Rwanda. He has attended the Bethune Round Table on 2 occasions. Mr. Lauren Braun was the program associate for CNIS for more than 10 years. He co-wrote more than $10 million in successful proposals for CNIS and traveled to Ethiopia, Uganda, and Tanzania for the CNIS in support of the African Committee for Essential Surgical Skills. Dr. Sam Bugas, the current chair of the CNIS, took this leadership role after CETA was closed by the Canadian government, when it was not an easy job, and has participated in the successful renewal of CNIS. He has taught ESS in Tanga, Moshi, and Mwanza, traumatic brain injury in Ethiopia, and participated as a content expert in CNIS digital apps. He has also participated in remote teaching of FIRST in Tanga, Tanzania from Vancouver. Dr. Alphonse Chandika, the ESS director in Mwanza, Tanzania for 10 years, where he established a surgical skills lab. And now that he has been transferred to Dodoma, the capital of Tanzania, he is working with the CNIS and Rotary to establish another skills lab. He also has attended and strengthened the Bethune Round Table and been part of the Access Committee in Tanzania. Dr. Jan Christola. Dr. Christola co-wrote the Structured Operative Obstetrics course, which became one of the flagship courses of CNIS. She has taught that course in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. She established the CNIS project in South Sudan and has helped mobilize significant donations for CNIS. Currently, she is the Director of Women's Health, which is a key role in the current era of Canadian feminist development policy. Dr. Robin Fairfield Smith taught ESS in Moshi, Tanzania, and when CNIS expanded to the Safer Obstetrics in Rural Tanzania project, directed and implemented a significant portion of that project. He's taught clinical officers and assistant medical officers in multiple centers throughout rural Tanzania. He also wrote a laparoscopic section for ESS to help African surgical residents qualify for their CASEXA membership exams. Dr. William Fott is currently on the executive committee as past chair, and he has served the CNIS as vice chair and chair for more than a decade. He has taught ESS in Tanga and Moshi, trained others to teach ESS in Africa, and on numerous occasions has mobilized funds for CNIS. Dr. Gwen Holar. Dr. Holar taught the ES program in Uganda and co-authored the CNIS hernia repair course, which she has also taught throughout Uganda. She has been chairman of the board of the CNIS and has been the lead on the establishment of the Bethune Round Table in Calgary on 2 occasions. Dr. Olive Kobasinji. Dr. Kobasinji co-founded the Injury Control Center Uganda, the Injury Prevention Initiative for Africa, and co-authored the Trauma Team Training course, which has become a flagship for CNIS as well. She has published her work with ICCU, as well as gone on to contribute her skills as an injury specialist to the WHO and Makerere University in Kampala, Uganda. Professor Patrick Kayameniwa. Patrick was the ESS director in Imbarara, Uganda, where he established a surgical skills lab with CNIS support. He assisted CNIS expand its ESS program to Rwanda, published his work, supported the African Canadian Committee for ESS, and has been a frequent speaker at the Bethune Round Table. Ms. Leah Makala. Leah Makala is a nurse midwife who led the teaching of FIRST for midwives in Tanga for more than 10 years. Close to 1,000 students have completed FIRST at that location. She helped CNIS expand the FIRST course in Dodoma, Tanzania, and has supported the work of the African Canadian Committee for Essential Surgical Skills. Professor Naboth Membati. Naboth was the ESS patron in Dar es Salaam, where he led the program for a decade. He also supported the teaching of trauma team training in Dar es Salaam. He has published studies demonstrating the value of the ESS program and participated in the Bethune Round Table. Dr. Badria Mushi is the academic officer at the Assistant Medical Officers College in Tanga, Tanzania. She has supported the teaching of ESS and SOO to assistant medical officers and the teaching of FIRST to clinical officers, both in standard format and remotely via Zoom. She translates for CNIS from English into Swahili as is necessary, and has supported research on teaching activities in Tanga, which also has led to several publications. Dr. Susan Obor, a Ugandan obstetrician, is known as a great teacher and a leader for our structured operative obstetrics program. She inspired the students to learn and the instructors to teach. She always worked very hard and made everything happen when CNIS ran a course. She went above and beyond expectations. The Canadian obstetricians say she was a pleasure to work with. Dr. Tom Okello. Dr. Okello took ESS as a student, and when he was qualified as a surgeon, became the ESS director in Gulu. Every student since Gulu Medical School was established took the ESS course, and this is in large part due to Dr. Okello. In addition to the ESS program, Gulu was a site for the hernia repair course and the traumatic brain and spine injury course. Dr. Okello's experience in ESS was published this year in the East and Central African Journal of Surgery. Dr. William Pollitt. Dr. Pollitt taught ESS in Tanzania and Ethiopia on numerous occasions. He served on the CNIS Board of Directors and conducted a research project reviewing the impact of 3 CNIS courses over a 7-year period in Tanga, Tanzania. Dr. Tariq Razik was chairman of the board of CNIS for almost a decade. He taught ESS and trauma team training in Tanzania. He has supported the Injury Control Center Tanzania and collected injury surveillance data throughout Tanzania. He has collaborated with the ICCT in the expansion of trauma team training to Rwanda and to Kenya. Dr. Hassan Shinaza. Dr. Shinaza has been on the board of CNIS and currently serves as the vice chair. He has taught ESS and SOO in numerous locations in Ethiopia and Tanzania. He was instrumental in the development of a partnership with CUSO, which resulted in CNIS establishing ESS and SOO programs in Kigoma, Tanzania. Elizabeth Schaefer was the CNIS office manager and anchor of CNIS from 2001 to 2014. She worked countless hours connecting all involved with CNIS in Canada and Africa. She called herself Elizabeth of the CNIS, and everyone thought of her as integral to the organization. The success of CNIS is in no small part due to the support and work of Elizabeth. Dr. Mulat Taye. Dr. Mulat was the ESS director in Addis Ababa for at least 15 years. He provided leadership in the establishment of ESS outside of Addis in Awassa and Mekele. In Addis, he helped establish the first CNIS Surgical Skills Lab, which became a template for CNIS Skills Labs in 4 other locations in Ethiopia and others throughout East Africa. He also contributed to the establishment of the Injury Prevention Initiative for Africa. Dr. Robert Taylor. Bob Taylor was called our man in Malawi, which was true, but in fact he taught CNIS course material on more than 30 occasions in Canada, Tanzania, Haiti, Uganda, and Malawi. He was key in establishing the CNIS throughout Canada as the lead in the surgical public engagement courses. He also edited course manuals and completed a master's degree based on the CNIS Kampala Trauma Score. Dr. Michael Wansborough. Mike helped establish ESS before CNIS was established. He has taught ESS in Canada and did project evaluations in Tanzania. He was on the board of CNIS and has been the CNIS supporter within the context of the Harbinger Foundation. The Harbinger Foundation has donated about $500,000 to the work of CNIS over our 25 years. Dr. Lorraine Wolford. Lori taught SOO in Uganda, and when CNIS expanded to the Safer Obstetrics in Rural Tanzania project, directed and implemented a significant portion of the obstetrical teaching of this project. She edited and updated the entire SOO curriculum. She has been a consistent supporter of the CNIS AGM and has also held fundraisers for the CNIS in Ontario. Dr. Menser Osman Yassin. Dr. Menser was the ESS patron in Gondar, Ethiopia, where the ESS program continues to this day. Thousands of students have benefited from his leadership. Under Dr. Menser, a skills lab was established in Gondar with CNIS support. Dr. Menser was involved in a seminal study of delay in surgical care, which showed that 50% of the delay occurred at the health center. The study was the basis of the first course, another of the CNIS flagship courses. The contribution of the 25 exceptionals was key to CNIS success. CNIS would not have accomplished over the last 25 years what it did without the help of the 25. But the 175 who were nominated also contributed, and the 100 notables were essential. We also want to remember the 7 who have passed on. If you have not had a chance to do so, please check the chat line. There's a link to buy the new red Silver Jubilee t-shirt and another link to renew your membership. Make sure to like and subscribe on YouTube for our continuing content. In summary, due to the help of many, over the 25-year history of CNIS, much has been accomplished. Our gala will continue on Zoom. Thank you.
Dolores, can you unmute everybody? Maybe we can take a small break for comments or complaints, or if you don't think that the committee did a good job in choosing who should be there, it's your chance to complain. But they're anonymous, so you won't be able to know who it is.
Well
That was
done,
great, Ron.
especially
You
the
didn't highlight
musical
yourself.
choices.
What's that, Brian?
Well, I said that, well, great, and congratulations to everybody. And I think whoever chose the dramatic music should also get some recognition.
That was Terry Morrison. He was online, but I don't know where he is now. We have a team of 3 videographers and live streamers that are going to help us to run the Bassoon Round Table, as well as to teach in East Africa by recording and live streaming and other things like that. So, you know, this is being live streamed on YouTube, and part of it is just getting the experience on how to do this sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how it goes on. One of our producers is in the office next to me, and he's watching on YouTube to see how it's going. James, how is it going? He's not listening. He says A-OK. Okay. Any other comments?
It's Jan here. I just want to say hi to all the wonderful faces that I haven't seen for a while. Christine, so nice to see you. Bob, Lori, Hassan, all the people I've spent so much time with in Africa. Kathy, it's wonderful to see everybody. So thank you for being here tonight. And it's been a journey. And you know, I have to admit that I have CNN on in the background, and it seems like a bit of a momentous night for many reasons, but I won't get into that. But
and Gary O'Connor's here. He learned about amenorrhea from the ESS course, right, Gary?
You're muted, Gary.
What?
Gary, you're muted. Yeah, Gary, go.
Well, I fixed that now, Bob. Thank you. Hello, long time no see. Great to see you.
Gary's an orthopedic
orthopedics
surgeon.
is very orthopedics learns obstetrics very slowly.
So we've had a lot of fun over the years.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, we asked people to contribute a one-slide story of CNIS, and Dolores has put them together. We actually have 20 people contributed their one slide. So we're divided it into two groups of 10. So, so I can't verify the quality of any of them except for mine. Hassan did his best.
That's right.
And so if everybody's ready, Dolores, could you run the first collage of 10 PowerPoints, please?
First, let me congratulate the board, partners, and especially Dr. Ron Lett for guiding CNIS for 25 years to its transition to adulthood. I'm a huge fan of the trauma team training course developed in Uganda by Dr. Olive Kobasinge with Dr. Lett in 1998. In 2006, Ron visited Guyana to run their first instructor course, sponsored by CEDA as part of the first postgraduate surgical training program in Guyana. It was a lot of fun, a lot of work, and involved a lot of people. These first two pictures tell the most important part of the story. In the top picture, Ron is showing the surgical residents and new TTT instructors how to assemble the chest tube model using a rack of ribs and two plastic bins from a local market. This was always the most challenging simulation model to assemble, although the guys would negotiate who got to take the ribs home for dinner afterwards. In the middle picture, teaching intubation, Ron is barely in sight, and you can see the enthusiasm and involvement of the residents. That single course led to at least 10 more courses run by local instructors over the subsequent decade, training over 150 providers, including all medical personnel when Guyana hosted the Cricket World Cup. However, the most fun I had was joining the 2017 course, run completely by the local surgeons for their senior medical students. By this time, one of the young surgeons had built a better chest tube simulation model that you can see in the bottom picture. The most recent part of the story took place in 2019 when Ron visited again, this time with CNIS Chair Dr. Sam Bugis, to run a new instructor course with the newest generation of young doctors. This time, the local ministry sponsored their visit, the course, and the ribs.
Hello, everyone. Dr. Janelle Leafso cannot be with us this evening, so I will be narrating her slide for you. She says, as a postgraduate perioperative nursing educator, I facilitated a CNIS pilot project at the Addis Ababa Black Lion Hospital in 2009. During workshop discussions, it became apparent that basic standards of perioperative nursing were not known, or if known, the understanding of why these best practices are important was not clear. In addition, nurses in low-income settings also spoke about their lack of voice, practicing in environments where entrenched professional hierarchies and gender inequalities persist. We know that interdisciplinary collaboration in clinical practices is essential to providing the best possible patient care, and it should be facilitated by interdisciplinary education. While the Safe Surgery Saves Lives course that I developed for CNIS served its function as a needs assessment for beginning to develop targeted education for theater nurses, it remains an excellent team building tool because it is a way to bring surgical residents, anesthetists, and theater nurses to the table. The course has been formally taught in Ethiopia and Uganda and used as a starting point by specialized surgical missions in Kampala and Gulu, Uganda. I have presented on this program and what we learned at conferences in Canada, Trinidad, and China. I continue to dream of a time when funding for nursing projects like this is available under CNIS's umbrella. Hello, everyone.
Hello everyone, this is Dr. Ananujo from Nigeria. So we want to just share a little progress we've made with the community danger maternal score application in Nigeria. You can see on this picture here is a training at a training session with some midwifery students at the School of Nursing and Midwifery in Makurdi, Benue State, which is in the north central part of Nigeria. We also had a similar training with midwives at the Boko local government area, which is one of the largest local governments in Benue State. We did train nurses from across the entire local government, most of them from rural areas, and on the application of the CDMS app, which essentially is designed to help support local communities, local primary healthcare centers where there is acute shortage of medical expertise in terms of doctors. And the app is expected to support, is designed to support pregnant women so we can scale down maternal mortality in that region. Nigeria actually is among the highest cases, records the highest cases of maternal mortality currently across the world, and CNIS has been working towards scaling that down, and I feel very, very excited being part of this project. And I want to thank CNIS and the rest of the team, Dr. Ronald Lett, and especially Dr. Ronald Lett and Rajan Bola for supporting, for giving their time and support on this project. Yeah, we're here to celebrate CNIS at 25, and we hope that we'll do another of this session in the next 25 years when CNIS is 50. Have a great day, gentlemen and ladies.
Unfortunately, Nurse Audrey Ebert cannot be with us at the gala tonight, so she's kindly asked me to narrate some words that she's prepared describing her work with CNIS. She says that her work at CNIS has consisted of sharing my knowledge and skills with nurses in the operating room in Africa, teaching basic principles of safe perioperative patient care, and teaching the Safe Surgery Saves Lives course, and this lovely photo illustrates it well.
Dramatic teaching moments are rare. October 2009, the Okanagan Zambia Health Initiative was set to deliver its first teaching program in Mongu, Western Province, Zambia. Uniquely, this included the first CNIS course to be delivered in a non-academic setting, complemented by medical and nursing modules. Our surgical team consisted of our mentor, Dr. Bob Taylor, thoracic surgeon, Dr. Bill Nelms, hospitalist with anesthesia, Dr. Glenn Jones, orthopedics, Dr. Gary O'Connor, and a nursing component. 30 minutes prior to delivering our first ever ESS course, we were asked to attend a fisherman who had been brought in off the Zambezi River in OPD. The patient's injury can be clearly seen in the photograph. The situation demanded urgent, specific skills and a sterile chest tube. We had both. As many know, chest tube insertion is not taught on the first day, meaning that if this had occurred 2 days later, we would not have had a sterile chest tube. The patient was treated, survived, and went home. We had been able to deliver and demonstrate the skills and value of the ESS course in a very dramatic fashion before we even started. The spear, by the way, was confiscated by the police, as apparently this had not been an accident.
CNIS
Ron probably doesn't remember this, but I met Ron and was introduced to the CNIS for the first time at the Canadian Conference on Global Health in Ottawa around the time I was completing my MPH in global health. After that meeting, I became an essential surgical skills course instructor and did some teaching with the CNIS. But the story I wanted to share today is the story of threes, and I've entitled it 3 hernias, 3 days, 3 automobiles. Ron and I had been working to develop the CNIS structure hernia course, and we piloted this course in Umkeri in Kampala, and then wanted to run the course in Mbarara and in Jinja, all in the country of Uganda. To travel from Kampala to Mbarara, Ron rented a car. We put our models, our equipment in the car, and made our 4-hour drive to Mbarara. Now, the structured hernia course is a 5-day course. The first 2 days spent in lectures and discussions and simulation sessions. And the last 3 days of the course, the students need to be first assist on 3 groin hernia repairs and primary operator on 3 groin hernia repairs, both under the supervision of a CNIS instructor. Not perfect, but overall the structured hernia course went well. And on Saturday, we sought to travel back to Kampala, but the rented car we had was having mechanical problems. We managed to get it to the local garage, but it needed repair. After a couple of quick conversations with the mechanic and the rental car company, we abandoned the car, grabbed our gear, hurried across the way and caught the local bus, overflowing with people, chickens, and the like. We eventually arrived back to Kampala. Ron went to the car rental company and was able to get another automobile. We talked about course refinements for our next structured hernia course, and in the evening, in our new rented automobile, we headed out to Steers for supper. After supper, as we were driving back to our guest house, another car came up behind us, hit our rear bumper. We sped up, they sped up, they came alongside us, hit the passenger door, and so began our high-speed car chase. As we were jumping meridians, heading into traffic in the wrong direction, driving up and down sidewalks to get around turns, all the while this other car remained in hot pursuit. Ron was eventually able to navigate us to the local police station, and upon charging into their parking lot, the car that was in pursuit took off. That second automobile was our dented automobile, and the next day Ron returned to the car rental company seeking our third automobile so we could in fact travel on to India to teach a third group of students the structured hernia course. Fortunately, that third car lasted the duration of our visit. So in my experience, work with the CNIS can have moments of angst, excitement, challenge, and obviously its moments of rewards. I want to say congratulations to the CNIS for its 25 years of accomplishments, its 25 years of sharing skills, and saving lives. Thanks.
Has gone through many existential crises to make it to 25 years. We had a financial concern of great proportions in 2004. We'd applied for a grant. We'd been told the grant had been approved, but it wasn't awarded because CETA decided to hold back the money because they thought that Prime Minister Paul Martin was going to lose the election and they wanted to have a whole pile of money to show the Conservatives. In late June, I went home, sat down on my couch, turned on the TV, thinking, what on earth can I do to keep CNIS alive? The newscaster announced that Prime Minister Paul Martin would be in Chinatown the next day. I immediately phoned my Member of Parliament. I asked for a ticket to the event. I also asked him to introduce me to Mr. Martin. He provided the ticket, but said he would try, but couldn't promise the introduction. I organized a demonstration in front of the Chinatown venue. It was made up of the CNIS staff and my 3 children, Robin, Ryan, and Tara. They were not excited to be out in the sun in Chinatown with the security forces looking at them. While they were out holding their placards, I was inside enjoying dim sum at the political event. After Mr. Martin finished his speech, and he looked very tired, it was the end of a hard campaign, he came around to the tables and came to the table where I was seated, and Mr. Owen introduced me, saying, Mr. Martin, I would like you to meet Dr. Ronald Lett. I said, Mr. Martin, we have a problem with CETA. I've put the details in this letter. Would you read it, please? He promised he would, and he was on his way. He faxed that letter to CETA in Ottawa and said, Dr. Lett had met with the Prime Minister, discussed concerns about the payment plan, and provided him with this letter. CETA was not happy, but CETA moved in July and we got our payment. My children have, I think, forgiven me for making them do this event. And of course, this was just one of many sacrifices they made to help the CNIS.
I believe we're engaged with CNIS because we want to make a lasting change in others' health and lives. We want to make our planet a better place to live. A few years ago, I was in Kasulu, Tanzania, facilitating the Structured Operative Obstetrics Low Fidelity Simulation course. And as part of that course, we designed models for management of postpartum hemorrhage, including the B. Lynch uterine compression suture. Sister Saba, the lead instructor at the time, learned how to make the low fidelity simulation suture, how to perform the technique on the model, and then finally how to teach the course and the whole surgical skill to the participants. Weeks later, I received this message from her that you see on this slide. She saved the uterus and the life of a mom by performing a B. Lynch suture on her. She had a postpartum massive hemorrhage, and all the existing techniques had failed to work, so she decided to try the technique. When we share our skills with others, we allow for the establishment of internal capacity. And it's not just one life that's saved, but countless. And as humans, we all have a role to play in life. As surgeons, we have specific skill sets, but we also have a voice. And as Joaquin Phoenix said, when we use love and compassion as our guiding principles, we can create, develop, and implement systems of change that are beneficial to all sentient beings and the environment. I strongly believe that it's to all of our interest to make this world a better place to live, not just for humans, but all sentient beings. I want to be able to look back in my life and say, I've made this a little better place, safer, happier for all sentient beings than when I found it. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Bob Taylor from Vancouver, BC. I've been connected to the CNIS for over 20 years, having developed curriculum and taught courses in 5 different countries, and it has always been very meaningful to me. You might imagine I could recount many stories that would reflect my experiences of working with the CNIS, but let me choose one that highlights for me a particular contribution that the CNIS approach has made to global surgical care. I choose this because it is one example of a scenario that repeated itself in almost I taught. This example is in Malawi, teaching a surgical skills course. This course was for clinical officers who were working in the rural areas of Malawi. At that time, clinical officers accounted for about 80% of the rural medical workforce. I was taking one of them through one of the life-saving surgical skills, and he suddenly stopped, looked at me and said, "You know, I see this clinical situation many times in my practice, but I have never known what to do for it, and I have never had the skills. Now I know that I can handle it and I can do it properly." He actually had tears in his eyes when he said that, and I also felt choked up. When I shared this conversation with one of the national surgeons who was co-teaching this course with me, he said, "Yes, some of them have been saying the same thing to me, and now I realize the importance of passing on these skills to clinicians who need them on a frequent basis, but never get a chance to learn them. We need to do this more," he said. As I mentioned, I've had this same conversation many times in many places. I believe that the CNIS has been a real pioneer in partnering with established national colleagues to train rural clinicians in essential surgical skills, thus improving the national health system for service to the underserved. It has been a privilege for me to have been part of the CNIS over these years. Thank you.
Hello, CNIS colleagues. Congratulations on your Diamond Jubilee celebration. What a ride it's been. I was first introduced to CNIS and Dr. Lett in early 2000 when I was supporting WHO's Injury and Violence Prevention Program in Africa. Now, fast forward 20 years, here we are. You're doing an amazing work in a much needed area, focusing really on a neglected public health issue. And more importantly, you're investing in the future leaders of the region. I also want to use this opportunity to pay tribute to a strong supporter of CNIS, our late beloved colleague, Dr. Bob Matunga. He was part of the CNIS community and was part of the steering and executive committee of the Injury Prevention Initiative for Africa, where I had the privilege to work with. Bob passed away in 2017. He was a loving father, a devoted surgeon, and a dedicated and devoted public health, human rights, and peace advocate. So like Bob will say, let's keep going. there's a lot of work to be done. Again, congratulations to the CNIS community for your dedication and sharing skills and saving lives. Congratulations again. Thank you.
Okay, you can unmute everybody, Dolores.
Very good.
Okay, well, thanks everyone for their contributing your slides.
I think everybody's still mostly muted, Ron.
Yeah, well, you can unmute yourselves. I
Yeah.
think I told Dolores to give you the right to unmute yourself.
Ron, I'm impressed with the new CNIS headquarters. It's got a great view of Vancouver behind you. Amazing.
That's true, and the sun is still up.
Maybe not.
So, well, we're becoming a broadcast agency, and part of the experience tonight is to practice, because we really are planning on broadcasting all our work to Africa. So, this pandemic is giving us a new opportunity to go forward and to try and figure out other ways of addressing the issues. And so we're going to digitize all our courses if as long as we can have the money to do so. And I think we obviously need to get more younger people involved, but there's always something exciting and new to do.
It's Jan here. I just wanted to make a comment. Seeing some of these things, it's very nostalgic in a way. I remember some of these. I've been involved in some of these things, and Hassan's comments about Kasulu, for example, are very, very touching, because we had a fantastic time there. I mean, we did both Kigomo and Kasulu as part of the QSO project, and it was amazing how resonant the CNIS model was with the locals, and how we actually blasted through some of the maybe I shouldn't say this, but we blasted through some of the bureaucracy associated with QSO and some of the other multinationals, because we were connected with the locals. And I think this is one of the great strengths of CNIS. This is not at the global, we may think at the global level, we're connected at the local level. And this is a very, very integral part of what we do as CNIS. We never do anything without our local partners. We never parachute in and try to do something that's not actually in partnership with the people on the ground in these various countries. It's very strong. It certainly resonates with my personal ethos, but it's been one of the strengths of the organizations. And I think probably everybody on Zoom right now can relate to exactly what I'm saying. But it's amazing how when I look at my colleagues that I've spent time with in Africa, we have a different relationship than other people, because we get to we sit in the evening, we talk about philosophy, we talk about politics, but we talk about how to get things done in the developing world in a different way. And I think it brings us down to a common denominator, and we're there as activists. And it really does connect us in an important way. And CNIS is an important common denominator. So thank you very much for everything you've done, Ron. But I think a number of the videos show that tonight.
Well, I was happy to see several of our African colleagues be able to make it. I mean, this is one of the cool things about a digital meeting. I see Well, Shannon, of course, is African, but he lives in with the cows out in Langley. And Patrick, Patrick, has been, a good friend for a long time. Sega, he was here and now gone. It wouldn't shock me if it was an internet problem, but the fact that he made it and participated was great because he was very crucial in running our traumatic brain and spine injury course throughout Ethiopia. But so, are you ready, Dolores, for the next collage? What's that?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead. So,
I think it was 1999 when I first went to the CNIS office, the old office on Broadway. I had been sent there by CETA to do a few days' work on a CNIS proposal. I walked in, I looked over on the wall and saw a picture of my friend Bob Taylor with Ron, and I said to myself, "Oh, this is good." And I saw Elizabeth and Ron at their desks with paper piled high, and we got to work. And over the years, I've been writing proposals, reporting to CETA, to foundations, doing work on the policy manual, but also evaluating the school program in Gulu, northern Uganda, visiting, being part of the Access meeting in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, where I had previously lived, and also going to several annual SORT meetings in Tanzania. And I look at my CNIS t-shirt and I think of all these things, and I'm proud. I'm proud of being part of CNIS over the years, and I think most proud that CNIS has stayed true to its vision and mandate, and I'm happy to be part of making a better future particularly for women and children in Africa. Thank you.
One of my most memorable moments was a conversation I had with an intern following an SOO course. He told me, first of all, that he felt sorry for his fellow interns that hadn't been able to take the course. He knew that his decision-making ability and his technical skills had improved. He was looking forward to his period of service in an outlying area of the country, and knowing that in performing a cesarean section well, he was going to be able to save not just one life, but two.
Good evening. Well, I'm going to tell a story tonight called The Surgeon, the Goat, and the Boy, which involves my time working under Dr. Ron Lett as a resident in 1994 in Jimma, Ethiopia. Well, most surgical skills curricula develop through peer review and are offered in clinical settings with appropriate procurement of samples. But in Ethiopia, we built our curriculum in the dead of the night with a surgeon, a goat, and a boy. And I will explain. The surgical skills course was a new CNIS initiative in the Jimma Institute of Health Sciences. And our course required animal material, intestines for repairing perforations, throats to practice difficult airway management, legs to practice suturing lacerations, chest to practice chest tube placements, and well, I think you get the idea. Well, this is where the goat comes into the story. We needed a goat to provide these body parts, and in order to ensure a reasonable price and not a Ferengi price, we needed to get our neighbor, who was a 10-year-old boy, to get one for us in the market. Well, I can't remember his name, so I'm going to call him Haley. He was a 10-year-old and always very curious about what we were up to and always eager to help. He was very capable and returned to us with a live goat. And this goat was not very cooperative and required a lot of pulling and coaxing by me to get him from Dr. Lett's house to my backyard, where he would stay until it was time for his dissection. Well, watching me pull this goat provided the locals with a great deal of entertainment. Anyway, we realized that it would be unwise to perform this dissection during the day, as our actions could be misunderstood as some kind of bizarre activity which could cause us a great deal of trouble. So we decided to wait for nightfall. Well, the goat's time was soon up, and he was sacrificed humanely by Haley, whose other job was to hold the flashlight so the surgeon could perform his work. Well, Dr. Lett looked very impressive in the beam of the flashlight, under the starry sky, dressed in his surgical smock, with gloved hand holding a scalpel. He could easily have been in any surgical theater, as in this backyard, or, in fact, in any B-rated Hollywood movie for that matter. However, it soon became clear that there was a problem. Dr. Lett, this illustrious surgeon, could not find what he was looking for in the abdominal cavity. The stomach was nowhere to be seen. Well, to be fair, he is a surgeon of humans, not a veterinarian, so he knew when to step aside and let Haley assist. And within a few moments, with a victorious smile on his lips, the elusive organ was delivered. The rest of the dissection went well. Body parts for the next day's surgical practice were placed in one bag, while the rest were given to Haley and his family for a stew. Well, as I stood in my yard under the stars on that warm night, I realized what special ingredients were going into this course. It took donors who believed in the goal of providing surgical skills experience to medical students, a stubborn goat, an open-minded surgeon, and most of all, a curious, helpful 10-year-old boy. Well, anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little story. I'm more used to telling stories to my 7-year-old, so this is a new experience for me. And have a great night. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, I hope everybody is doing well. This here is a photo taken by Dr. Lett of Doctors Noor, Hodgins, Lett, and myself, of course. And it showcases a CNIS FIT Project Evaluator Zoom call. Now, with the COVID-19 pandemic in the background, CNIS has had to increasingly digitize its many operations, and frequent Zoom calls, such as this one, have become just one of these measures. Now, I don't know how much fun Dr. Noor had calling in from outer space, but I can say that I had a great time zooming in from Hawaii. And I hope you enjoy our gala just as much.
Hi, I'm Dr. Shannon Tito, and first of all, I'd like to congratulate CNIS for an amazing 25 years, and I also would like to just express my appreciation for being a part of these 25 years, being involved in especially the peace education program, which I was very honored to be responsible for um, uh, bringing it to life. And one of the things that I wanted to share in this video is you can see in the pictures a team of teachers. We're training in Gulu, and you can see myself there projecting a Chinese character. Um, And that Chinese character became pretty much the basis of what this peace education program was about. And for subsequent activities that happen after that. The character there is of crisis. And the Chinese character, of course, includes two items, and that is crisis and opportunity. And CNIS gave me the opportunity to be a part of this program. And not only did it become a program that has served quite well in Uganda and Ethiopia and Canada, but this also gave me the opportunity to pursue further studies and research in peace education. And in fact, this month, the opportunity continues because I will be publishing a book based on this particular study of the peace education program. And I'm also a peer reviewer for International Journal of Elementary Education, which I will also be writing a journal, again, based on part of the peace education program. So the opportunity started in Gulu in 1999 and continued up to this time. So appreciation to CNIS and for the work and the passion that they put behind seeing that there is peace and reduction of violence in societies in Africa. Thank you very much. I look forward to hearing from all the other people and participate in the Zoom meeting. Thank you. Bye bye.
Thanks for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about our project in South Sudan. This goes back now to October 2017. At that point, I was contacted by the Canadian Association of Midwives. They had been working on a project in South Sudan called Strengthening Midwifery in South Sudan, or SMSS. That was really, the goal there was really to strengthen frontline midwifery services across the country and increase the number of available midwives to service not just Juba, but the whole country. The project had been well received and the Canadian midwives had done a great job on it. And now on to phase 2, SMSS 2. And that was to strengthen the background or the underlying surgical services, the backup surgical services. And that's where I came in. So they contacted me and immediately started working with Ron to try to figure out what that would look like. The task really was to create a 6-month curriculum of emergency surgical and obstetrical services. And the goal was to actually implement it by delivering that surgical training to those students who were just finishing their undergraduate degrees or were somewhere in the process of extra work. Make sure that they had the skills available to be great surgeons when they got called on by their obstetrical colleagues and others both in Juba and in the surrounding countryside. We actually attacked it with gusto and had several trips to South Sudan, as well as working hard in the background on the curriculum. It's been a successful project. Certainly it hasn't been without wrinkles, as you can imagine. South Sudan is a brand new country, and it's still a country that's considered a war zone. So there certainly have been some difficulties, but essentially the work is going forward, and we've developed a great working relationship with the College of Physicians and Surgeons in South Sudan. This is very much a partnership with them, and the work continues. We're certainly hoping that we'll be able to go back to South Sudan sometime in 2021, but in the meantime, we'll continue to work closely with them and see what we can do in terms of moving things forward, even if we're unable to travel. Thanks for letting me tell you a little bit about our project, and look forward to updates in the coming months and years. Thanks.
I am a children's orthopedic surgeon. In collaboration with CNIS, I developed the Essential Osteomyelitis Management course. This is a 2-day course targeting junior medical officers and junior residents in surgery and in orthopedics. Osteomyelitis, bone infections in children specifically, occupy a huge burden of disease in lower and middle income countries, along with septic arthritis of the joints. And what we find in low income countries is many times the initial treatment has not been carried out. And the initial treatment can be very simple, like draining an abscess or drilling the bone or removing a piece of dead bone. But many practitioners are very scared of working on the bones. And so we developed this course uh, teaching the primary skills that could be done at a district hospital using very basic bone instruments. We developed a low fidelity simulator, which is made out of uh, easily available materials. And with this simulator, we can teach 11 specific surgical techniques in the primary treatment of osteomyelitis. We incorporate in the course uh, the evaluation of radiographs, aspiration of joints, planning surgical incisions, and how do you use basic surgical instruments. Many surgical residents have never actually used a periosteal elevator, for instance. This course has been taught now in Tanzania, in Ethiopia, and in Uganda with, I think, great efficacy. Each course we've been teaching somewhere between 15 and 40 residents, hoping that they will go to the districts and do this surgery. I am so convinced that simulator training is the way to go in terms of future surgical development in these countries, and I'm happy to have done this course with CNIS and hope that it can continue in the future.
Hello, my name is Rajan Bola, and I'm a volunteer research assistant at the CNIS. I originally started in 2018 and have only gotten more involved since. Currently, my main research with the CNIS revolves around the Community Maternal Danger Score, but I also help out with the trauma team training courses and other global maternal health studies. I am a current master's student at UBC and I aspire to enter the medical field someday. The CNIS has given me an amazing opportunity to explore my interests within the fields of global surgical research. As you can see here in this picture, this was me receiving the 2019 CNIS Volunteer of the Year award.
The CNIS has been a champion in improving access to essential safe surgery in Uganda and the Horn of Africa at large through short, highly focused essential surgical skills trainings in medical schools and at surgical and obstetric expert meetings. This is in addition to enhancing the capacity of the training institutions to continuously deliver the essential surgical skill workshops throughout the year. I do wish to single out the Surgical Skills Laboratory at Mbarara University of Science and Technology that was constructed in 2007 and has seen over 1,000 trainees undertake the essential surgical skills training. I first came into contact with the CNIS and its founder and CEO, Dr. Ronald Lett, in 2003 as a young surgeon in charge of surgical skills training for the medical students and residents at Mbarara University of Science and Technology in Uganda. I have since served as African co-chair for Access, ESS coordinator for the University of Rwanda's Faculty of Medicine while I was dean there, and I have delivered the essential surgical skills workshops to different audiences in Uganda, Rwanda, and Ethiopia under the auspices of the CNIS. Ron and the CNIS could easily be used interchangeably. That is how long he's been at it. I wish to especially thank Ron and Elizabeth for their steadfast support and efforts in ensuring materials, funds, and trainers were always available for the ESS workshops. Many surgeons, including OBS-GYN specialists in Uganda and indeed in Eastern and Southern Africa today, have at least a skill or two learned from an ESS workshop offered by the CNIS. Long live the CNIS, and this is the legacy of the CNIS and surgical fraternity in the region.
I don't think we need to go to breakout sessions. Okay, just unmute everybody. Well, I enjoyed seeing some of these things I hadn't thought about for ages. I haven't seen all the videos. Dolores collated them all, and so it's interesting to see what was going on. Everybody's muted. You have to unmute.
No, I can't unmute them if they wish to.
Yeah, you have to unmute yourself. You have the power to unmute yourself. Go to if you want to say anything.
Hi, Ron, and hi, everyone. Good morning and good evening. It is quite early in Uganda at the moment. It's just coming to 6 a.m. And I must say, this has been a very successful Silver Jubilee. Congratulations on putting it up so nicely. And you are still proving your innovativeness, because with the coronavirus and the travel bans and so on, this couldn't have been pulled off if it wasn't for an innovative approach. Thank you very much. And of course, the CNIS continues to be a torch for us in the region. And thanks to everyone, the 175 or so that you mentioned, for contributing to the CNIS's success. Congratulations and best wishes for the celebrations. Patrick Chamanya from Uganda. Bye for now.
Thanks, Patrick.
Thank you.
Okay, well, any other comments? If not, it's time for us to break open the bubbly.
How are you going to share it, Ron?
It was a BYOB. Didn't you see that message? So James and Dolores, come and participate. There's Dolores.
Yeah, James had to leave.
Oh, James had to leave. Okay. So it's just Dolores and I.
Hi, everyone. Thank
Hi,
you so
Dolores.
much for coming.
Hi, Dolores.
So Dolores, can you open the?
I can't hear them, by the way.
Can
Oh,
you
I
open?
think you're gonna have to do this. I think.
So
Yeah.
Bob Taylor.
You know.
Okay.
Hi, Bob.
Hi.
Hey, good
Nice
to
to
see
see
you,
you.
Bob. Yeah,
Yeah,
good to
what do
see
you-
you, Bob.
Good to see you.
What are you doing, Bob?
Yeah.
What are you doing these
So
days?
nice. What are
Bob,
you doing, Bob?
Bob's not up to much good.
He's disappeared.
Bob's always the good guy.
I know.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's a nice thing to say.
That's one of the burdens of my life, is having Bob Taylor as my friend, because he's always done everything that I've done more frequently or better or both than me.
I've not opened the bubblies you've opened. Sorry.
Okay, let's see if it goes. Come on, Dolores.
Watch out.
Well, Ron, I've always thought that Bob was one of the better angels of your nature.
Okay. Can you explain that in more detail, Brian? It's a little bit too philosophical for me. Okay, Dolores.
Thank you so much. Everybody's watching us, right? Okay, okay.
That's enough?
We want to see you drink it through your mask, Dolores.
No, she's going to social distance.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
happy 25th anniversary to everyone.
Right. Yes.
Happy anniversary.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Congratulations, Ron.
Yeah, I see Terry Morrison, the videographer, is there. He finally showed up. He was watching this on YouTube.
Well
So,
done.
what are you drinking this time? Coffee?
Thank you, Terry.
Mine's red.
Ours is sparkly, but it didn't have that. The cork didn't go flying. That's a disappointment. Nope.
Oh,
The
drunk
camera-
already.
The camera fell on the floor.
Gee, that's after only one drink.
I didn't even finish.
I was watching the program on YouTube, and I enjoyed a lot of your presentations. Thank you. It was very enlightening.
Okay, we'll have to get a count of how many people watched it on YouTube. But you know, this will be now in what do you call it? In memoriam, it's going to be on YouTube forever.
In perpetuity.
If you guys now, we're actually YouTube is our way forward right now. We need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 views, and then we'll start making money on YouTube. Now, as soon as we get students doing courses, they're gonna have to subscribe, or we won't give them credit. But we would just like you to do it voluntarily.
That was one of the reasons I came back, was to ask everybody to go to the YouTube channel and like it.
Like it. Okay. Subscribe.
What is it called?
Subscribe and like it. Yeah.
What is it called on YouTube, Terry?
Pardon me?
What's it called on YouTube?
Here, I'll send you the link.
Dolores is sending you a link.
Okay, thank you.
There you go.
Good.
But I think if you search just the full name, Canadian Network for International Surgery, you'll
YouTube,
get it.
okay, yeah, okay, that'll do.
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
So you like and subscribe, and then actually, some of the lectures that we gave at the May 31st virtual scientific conference start showing up in your YouTube feed.
Oh, cool.
So
very nice.
So it's you know, we can revenge these people that are always giving us stuff that we didn't want on our feeds by doing the same thing back.
So I have to say goodbye, everyone. I have to go back to my other meeting.
Okay, yeah, that's one of the problems. Lori, you other than your video,
Bye,
you've been
Lori.
rather quiet.
I've been sewing a baby blanket. That's why I put it on mute. So you have to listen to my sewing machine.
You have another grandchild?
No, it's a baby, a friend's baby, I should say.
Okay.
Well, I do have another one. I had a granddaughter in July. It's nice to see everybody's face.
Good to see everybody. I'll say goodbye to everybody as well, and wonderful to see you all.
Yeah, I think we've had a good meeting. Let's close it and you know, and I don't know, we'll do an we don't even have a formal evaluation. What kind of CNIS event is this that we don't hand out an evaluation form?
That's the evening, that one, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And Ron, come out to Langley for a drink with the cows.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that.
You know, I must say it's been nice to see a lot of people I've never met before, part of the
yeah.
CNIS family. It's awesome. It's a great venue to do this sort of thing.
Great.
Thank you for that.
There's lots of advantages to Zoom. Yeah.
And it's also good to see people from long time ago that I met as well. So it's awesome. Thank you.
And congratulations, Ron, for such a wonderful effort.
Well, but I quite honestly feel honored that I could convince so many people to do what to do the work for me. I call it the Tom Sawyer technique. You all know the story of Tom Sawyer.
With the white fence?
Yeah. Yeah. And I just got you guys all out painting my fence.
Congratulations, Ron. You've
great.
done such a great thing, taking everybody together and pulling this off. This is amazing.
Amazing.
Cheers to
yeah.
Ron.
Yeah.
Cheers.
With my cup of tea. Cheers.
Okay. What
All
are you
right.
thinking, Brian?
Good night.
Okay.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Dolores,
Good night.
let's close it while we're ahead. Good night.
Yes.
And
Good night.
Catherine, send us your info. Join us.
Oh, yes, sir. I will do that this evening. Thank you so much, Dr. Lett. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
And I wish you all a great evening. It was great to learn from each and every one of you.
Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Lots to learn. Lots to learn.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great
Bye.
evening. Bye.
Dolores, can we save the chat?
Yeah, I just copied it.
Okay, great. Okay, let's
Can you end it, please?
leave meeting.